Hey guys, I feel like complete shit. I just got my second dose of Moderna yesterday, so now I'm fully vaxxed against COVID-19. There are nanomachines all throughout my body, running through my bloodstream, trying to take control of my brain. Anyways, we're gonna start off video with squats as usual. I really chose the best angle for this, huh? Anyways, there's just like traffic to my left and to my right, so I had to just put the camera here for the first set. It went pretty well, just as usual, 2-1-0 tempo squat in flats. I think my first set was probably the best set, as we'll move on to the second one. It felt pretty comfortable here, and I think I've gotten a lot more stable at the bottom. Don't know what it was, but I totally fudged the walkout here. As you see, like, I literally tip forward. I definitely don't want that happening at a meet, especially with comp plates. They're a lot denser, so like I could have probably fallen. Anyways, second set. As for everything in general, it was a 3x4. This is the RPE 7 set at 375. As you can see, I think maybe this rep, I have a bit of hip shift going on, and that's mostly from just my foot positioning. It's just really far out in front of me, which I end up fixing on the last set. Anyways, for the last set, I just go back down to 365 for RPE 6. And one thing I noticed is that I can keep my wrists in a much better position, and I think my upper back can hold the bar much more when I actually chalk up my hands as I squat. One other thing that I noticed, which is really bad, I need to fix, my elbows literally touch my quads at the bottom of the lift, and they kind of mess up the movement as I come back up. That and placing my feet too far out in front of me were definitely a factor, I think, in the hip shift as I come back up. And here we are with the back off set, 345 for 6 at RPE 6. I try to fix my foot positioning by putting them a bit more towards my hips and my glutes instead of being so far out in front of me. I think it definitely helped, but the other thing, again, see how my elbows touch my quads? It just really kind of messes up my line of thought as I want to come off the floor and come out of the hole. I noticed that it doesn't really happen when I wear heeled squat shoes at all, but moving my grip out just a little bit wider does kind of alleviate the issue. But yeah, squats in general were pretty good. The knee was doing well. I just think the pauses were a little, I mean, they were fine this session. I think I could use more work on the tempos rather than the pauses. Anyways, this upcoming single is literally the reason why I named the video the way it is. I was going for an RPE 7 single, so I thought 297 would be a decent weight, but as you can see, 297 would be 135 kilo. This is 145 kilo, so instead of 297, this is 319 on the bar, which was a 50 to 60 pound jump from my last warm-up single. It was the weirdest feeling because I've been working on actually flaring my elbows out more and tucking my elbows in less, so it felt very stable at the top. As soon as I get to the bottom right here and it starts coming off the chest, it feels okay, and then right here I'm like, there's no way this is 297. Initially I thought it was still 297, so I was super surprised. I checked, and then, you know, I just thought to myself, thank God that wasn't 297. There's no way it's supposed to feel like that ever. Yeah, so I obviously didn't get the lift. This is the first set of bench. It's supposed to be at an 8. I loaded up what I thought would be at 8, which was 259. Ended up being around a 7 for 5. Felt pretty good. Again, my previous sessions, for some reason, I was just tucking my elbows in way too much, and now that I have them out a little bit more, it just feels way more natural. Even with that change, I can't help but notice when I get the bar to my chest, it kind of bounces a little bit, and I need to probably let it sit there a little longer. Should probably be a little tighter at the bottom too. It just kind of like floats on my chest a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, not really too ideal. However, RP is pretty decent. This was 253.5 for 5. Put it in as a 6. For my third set, I just took 253.5 again. It ended up being around an RP 6.5 at this point. Just the huge misload at the top single started affecting like the right side of my arm, including my pec and my armpit, so it was just really tight, kind of uncomfortable, but it's fine. I can still bench with it. The last set was 248 for 5 reps. Pews around 5.5. Ideally it would be 5, but It's the last set, and I think the session in general went well. Just a couple things to work on. They're going to be more consistent with where I place my feet. Sometimes they're farther out, sometimes they're a little closer to my butt. Because of the hamstring strain 2 weeks ago on my top single, we've been going pretty light on deadlifts. In fact, last week I did 225, which was supposed to be at a 10x2, but incidentally, this day as well was supposed to be a 10x2, but I made them 5x4s just because I was in a bit of a rush. Wednesday tends to be my busy day outside of the gym. 405 right here felt insanely good, mostly because I listened to Alex, and basically the way I should be pulling is just pull the slack, put my hips forward, and just pull the bar into me, kind of, is how I think about it. I just keep my arms long, I break the slack, and I actually look up. Me looking down, I think kind of that cue, it was helpful to look down initially, but what it would do, my hips would shift way too much. So basically right there, as I put my hips forward, right before I pulled, they would shift up, and that would just create a situation where lockout would actually be pretty tough, especially if the weight is heavy. I never thought I'd be throwing 405 around like this. These sets were all like RPE4, so usually when it comes to sessions like these, I'm pretty impatient and I'll just go like really fast. I won't really think about it. I just want to get it done because it's just not challenging enough to be fun. But you know, I went in a bit more level-headed, and I took the time to just notice certain things, and for that, honestly, it was just more of a successful session overall. Yeah, that pretty much concludes the video. Hope you guys quote-unquote enjoyed this. Really, just me squatting, benching, and deadlifting. I'll see you guys in the next one.